Hey, coaches. Hey to everybody else out there watching. Well, we're still on that Corona lockdown, and I'm still going to keep putting out these videos. Maybe I'll have so many of them done, it'll be enough to last us another 10 years. But let's pray. I only get to do 2 or 3 more, but it's not looking so hot. Just got the word they're shutting down Alabama. Got the word yesterday. Won't be any spring sports at all. No summer stuff probably until August. And I'm sure since I just left Alabama officially about 2 weeks ago to start over here coaching in Georgia, it's going to follow here in Georgia too. So, hey, I tell you what we do as coaches. Let's keep getting better. Let's keep sharing stuff with each other. Let's be so ready for football to get started that our fans won't even recognize our teams when they come back out there. We're going to be so innovative, cutting edge, new drills, new schemes, new techniques, everything. All right, today we're going to be talking about passing game concepts. Won't go too long, I hope. We're going to only talk about 2, the shallow cross and the smash. Okay, right here on Football Talk with Coach Chip. Our show today is brought to you by, of course, my beautiful wife, Tammy Pierce. Tammy Pierce Real Estate. Live, serve, work, play. She's your homegrown hometown realtor in Pine Mountain, Georgia. Hashtag call the lady. I did. Also, my good buddy, Johnny Buckets, and my other good buddy, Thrift Behringer, with the Johnny Buckets podcast with Thrift Behringer. Best pound-for-pound sports podcast out there. Find it wherever you get your podcast. And then my good friends over at Johnny's New York Style Pizza. It's in beautiful downtown West Point, Georgia. We say that around here. I forget. I just got an email from a guy in Ontario, Canada. That blew my mind. Anyway, it's about halfway between Atlanta and Montgomery on I-85. You know, even in these days of Corona, Johnny's is still up and operating. Of course, no in-store dining. You have to talk to him about his patio. I guess you can go out there if you can keep your distance. But if you're passing through and you're hungry, get on your app, find them, call them. They do delivery, contactless delivery. I don't know if Ben delivered to you out there at the interstate at the exit or not. Or you can just swing through downtown and get you curbside pickup. Johnny's employee will bring it out there to you. Just drive right through. Phone them, tell them, hey, we're here, and they'll bring you. Now, you don't have to get the homemade kit. Obviously, this is for locals. It's something new they've done, trying to adapt. You got to appreciate that, man. Adapt or die. We're just talking about that in episode 21. Adapt or die. Our buddy Ben over there is adapting to the situation, trying to keep his people employed, trying to keep his doors open because he knows people are counting on him for his great food, his great service, but also he is a great local business citizen. I call him a corporate citizen, even though technically he's not a corporation. But they'll deliver it to you. It's a home pizza kit, or they'll bake it for you. And then this is really cool. You can get baked lasagna or a baked penne kit. Or they'll bake it for you there and bring it out to the car or bring it to your house. That contactless delivery, what they'll do, they'll bring it, set on your doorstep, and text you or call you and say, hey, your pizza's here, hey, your lasagna's here. But, you know, like some folks, I'm thinking about driving. I'm 20 miles from Johnny's, 23 probably, closer to the truth. And I'm thinking about driving over there late this afternoon and getting one of these things and bringing it home, put it in the fridge, and bake it whenever I want it. Maybe eat it tonight, maybe eat it sometime tomorrow. And that's because they're just such good folks. Be sure to go by and see them over at Johnny's. Ask for Ben or Yada. Those are my buddies. And don't forget to tell them Coach Chip sent you. All right, let's talk some football. After 4 minutes of shameless plugs. By the way, I've said this to somebody the other day on social media or an email. I don't get paid for any of those spots. Those are all friends. One's my wife, of course, and the other 2 are just really good friends of mine. And Ben's been so good to us the whole time I was coaching in Lynette. We had a Thursday night thing, especially during the season. Went over there every Thursday night for pizza and just fellowship time. The coaches did, and Ben was good to us. So, and then of course Buckets is my boy. And Thrift, and that is a good podcast. You know, I wouldn't promote it, even though he is my boy, if it wasn't a good podcast. All right, let's talk about the shallow cross. Now, the shallow cross, I always called it the high-low cross. I don't know why we call it the shallow cross, because there's two crossers. You got the H crossing. Now, I do it a little bit different. I'll just show you the way I do things. My H, instead of going through the heels of the D line, I tell him to come off and come right off that D end as he's pass rushing and get in between, get a little bit, go behind them, get a little depth. And it works for us. I don't understand why it does, but it does. But the shallow, and the coaching point here is, I saw they were always late. They were slow getting out. And then so one day I'm watching them, and what they're doing, they're trying to look at the quarterback. By the way, this is, regular pass. This is a 3-step out of gun, be 5 to 7 step, I guess, out of under center. They're looking at the quarterback as if they're going to get the pass thrown to them in here. Okay? Now, if it's zone and it's wide open, we tell him he can sit down right there. But I tell him, I said, just keep going. But don't look at the quarterback. And real loud, I looked at the quarterback. And I said, do not throw the H a ball until he clears the box. Then I looked over at the H's. I said, did you hear that? They said, yes, sir. I said, so don't look at the quarterback, because he's not going to throw it to you until you clear the box. So then what was happening is they were going slow because they're trying to look at the quarterback and dodge bodies in here and worried about getting their head knocked off by a linebacker, okay, that's seeing them come across. Remember high school football, man, you can collision that joker as long as that ball's not in the air. Okay, we talked about that in the last episode about how rules are different. Yeah, you can blow a joker up in high school as long as you don't grab them and the ball hadn't been thrown. That's legal. And so they're looking. I said, don't look. Don't look back. Just look at what's in front of you. You see any mess, dodge it. You see a linebacker trying to collision you, dodge him, come out the other end like a tunnel, a chute, if you will. You come out, and then you can get the football. And jokers are going to be open. Now, I was talking to a good friend of mine, Bill Smith, and I've been friends since 1993. And I said, how do you teach it? What's your progression? And he said he always puts the tailback to where the cross starts, to mean where the shallow starts. And I went, oh, okay. And I asked him why, and he had a good reason for doing it. But now me, what I like doing, because it looks like our buck formation, it looks like our jet formation. If I slide him right here and put the H in the sniffer, it could be our power or counter formation. I like it right here for that reason. Also, I like the idea, I lost my cursor again, there it is. I like the idea of the tailback hitting that swing right there. Some folks call it a flare. Swinging right there and getting that dog's attention and bringing that dog out of here, widening him. And then look here. If everybody on defense does what they're coached to do, look what you get. He's going to drop hook to curl. He'll drop hook to curl. He's got the flat. He's got flat. He's probably going to collision Z. But then he sees the swing. He's going to go with it. Okay? Well, look at the opening right here. So the shallow's open. All right, then you got the Z. Our Z, as we call him, running the dig. And we always say it's 10 to 12. And we always tell them, don't run to be covered. So if that Will drops right here and that Mike drops right here, where's the opening? Yes, where I've got this arrow right here. Okay? Don't keep going and run to coverage. And that always worked for our kids over in Lynette, because all of our skill kids were basketball players. And I always just equated it to a zone offense. I said, if the guy's playing defense on the low post, are you going to run down to the low post and stand beside him? And just stand there? No. I said, you're going to go where you're open. You're going to find the open spot because you want the ball. Same thing versus a zone in football. You want to get in an open spot. All right, and then back over here, we do a skinny post, and we just call it a skinny. And what a skinny is, and some of y'all may remember us talking about this before, is he doesn't cross the goalpost. He's going to break for the near upright at an angle, and he'll never cross the middle of the field. Okay, and that gets him a chance to get open, somewhere on the hash mark if the ball was in the middle of the field. And he'll get open behind the safety and run away from the corner if the safety bites on the dig. Over here, by the way, is the very first thing. Some coaches call it a peek, gift, and access, whatever. This cat is running a takeoff. Okay? A takeoff, in our terminology, means a deep ball. Okay? But by calling it a takeoff, it means he's got the option. If that corner is playing off and bailing, he can curl up about 10 to 12. And eventually, when the kids get it down pat, we just tell them, once he flips his hips and turns and runs with you, and he just bound and determined you're not going to beat him deep, just stop and look inside. And that grew out of our attempt at trying to throw back shoulder fades and all that. And it can be done, the back shoulder fade, but it was so time expensive for a team with kids that go both ways. Now, what about progressions? All right, some coaches are going to teach you to read this guy right here, the dog. If the dog stretches here, you know this guy's going to be open. And you can have different progressions and run the same concept. You can call it one thing or the other. You can say, read short. And so he'll read the dog right here. And if that dog jumps here or widens, you know that shallow is going to be open. Okay? And if the wheel, for some reason, carries the shallow when you come off and look at it, then you know right in here is going to be open, because your Z on the dig is going to sit where that Z would have been, because Mike can't cover that middle by himself. And so that's your short progression. And then you got a deep or medium progression that some coaches use. And this goes back to the old days of football, because, by the way, the shallow cross is not new. I formation teams, Florida State ran it back in the late 70s, I know. And I know Troy State ran it back in the late 80s. And they even called it NCAA because everybody in NCAA ran it. I only know that because I went to clinics and camps there. All right. The deep read is this. If the free runs deep with the post, here's your free. If he runs deep with the post, then you throw the dig. Okay. If you can see the free, if you can see his front numbers, hose the post. That's your deep read. Your deep or your medium read. If you can see his front numbers, hose the post. Okay? And that's your deep read. Of course, you got your original pre-snap right here. You got a shallow read right here, short read right here. And so I just don't think you can do all of them. Now that's pre-snap, and you may want to tell him, like, if it's 3rd and 5, and you know this cat over here is going to be bailing, you just go ahead and have a signal for him. Say, hey, throw it to the corner, throw it to the Y. And you can flip it, of course, and run it the other way, and you can switch it and have the Z run the shallow and the H run the dig. I just like my Z running it because I like getting him that ball a little bit deeper. But the Z so fast, if you can get him that ball as he comes out of the tunnel right here, if you will, as he comes out of the middle, he catches. That's the Z, and you got a Z that can scat. He's going to catch that joker right here. Because remember, if he throws it, that means that dog has gone here or widened. Catch that joker and turn up. Ain't nobody there tackling but the corner and the free. If you got an athlete, you may check out on a little 5-yard pass. All right, last one. And we're 13 in. All right, let's talk about smash concept. Now, the smash concept, doing it out of the power look rather than the true 2x2 spread look. This is 2x2, but notice the H is in tight. And I have noticed that some of the spread teams are using tight ends again. And I guess it depends on whether or not you have them. We never did much after we went gun with tight ends, because that's one of the reasons, besides having good quarterbacks, that we went to gun, is a lack of tight ends. We were trying to be a wing tee, buck sweep team, and did not have a lot of tight end types. One or two, but when you're talking about kids going both ways, one year we didn't have one, and that was the year we did it. Okay? We just had one. And then there's been a couple of years where we've had two, but you never can tell. And we'd have more H types, and then if a kid was a tight end type, he could play H, and we could use him like a tight end. All right, but back to the smash. People say, well, you got it drawn up against cover 3. It's not very good against cover 3, coach, with the 3 deep. All right, watch this. When you do it with a tight end or a tight H, all right, and he runs the corner at 22, okay? Means he's breaking to a point on the sideline 22 yards down the field. We use cones. All summer, we use cones. and just train them. And we got a lot of routes that go at 22. In the next episode, I'm going to show you some other routes that break at 22. 22 is our magic number. Now, I don't nut up over it if they don't go exactly 22. If they're somewhere between 20 and 25, we're good. But I just go with 22. Matter of fact, when I put the cones out, I put them at 22 and a half. All right. The Y is running the idle route. The ticks of the sideline over here on the right, the Y is running that. And now that creates separation. I got away from running the curl or the hitch underneath, okay, because the dog could widen and undercut that, cover it, okay. And also, if you ran it any deeper than 5 yards, a corner could play both. He's playing about 15 yards. Now you got to make a perfect throw over his head, okay. So if they're running true cover 3, the corner is going to be covered, right? Because the corner is going to break back and cover the corner route. Now I want y'all, and I'll give you a year to find him, but you got to find him in your program or your league, okay? I want y'all to find a dog that can play that H so he can play the run and cover that idle route on that Y over here who's running that thing at 4 or 5 yards to the tick marks on the sideline. All right, I'm waiting. Okay? Y'all got my contact information. When y'all find a dog that can do that, y'all come holler at your boy. All right, that's why you can run smash versus cover 3. Okay? Now over here it's not as good. Traditional, it's not as good because now you got the dog widened out with the Z and he may be able to get over there. And then a lot of teams are going to give you that. Okay, fine. As long as you're not running smash on 3rd and 7, you'll take a 4 or 5 yard gain if they rally to the ball and tackle your idle route right when the ball's caught. Okay? But it's not as good a route over here, not as good a concept. But when you run it with a tight end or a tight H, folks, that's tough sledding. You say, well, okay, they widen him out. Well, they widen him out. He's buck bait now. He's begging to be kicked by this guard. Remember, this is my buck formation. Okay, this is the buck formation. So he can't play too wide. And if he plays too wide, if he comes out here and they try to play a straight cover 3, dude, just right here, hit the H on a seam. And all you got to do is flash fake. You can make that to an RPO or just call it. You don't have to do an RPO. Just call buck and have a signal. So when that Mike sees that guard pull and that guard pull, that Mike's coming right here to blow up buck. Tailback splashing right there across his face. I know we're getting away from smash, but I'm telling you why they can't cover it. Right here, Mike's gone. And you're not going to come in here where that safety can get you. You're going to be right here on a hot with that H. And it's not an RPO. You're predetermined. That's if they want to play it that way. So if they want to take that dog and move his butt out wide so he can cover the flat, they're leaving too much. They're leaving buck. They're leaving that hot off the buck. They got to play it like this. And again, this corner right here is going to take the corner because it's 3 deep. And most of the people I've talked to are at smaller schools, and that's what you see at smaller schools. You don't see a lot of coverages. You're going to see either 3 deep or some kind of cover 2 concept. All right? So this is actually a doable concept versus cover 3, and everybody says you can't run smash against cover 3. Okay? I say you can. All right, now this is for when they want to get cute or something like that, and that free safety is doing something that's really good against 2 safeties. I didn't change the slide on that. The smash concept, if they got 2 safeties, okay, in the middle of the field, one on the left, one on the right. One of them's taking this corner. The other one's taking this corner. Well, who's got this guy right here? If you got you a good receiving tailback, eventually I'll load some film on one of these episodes and show you us completing this. I call it a Tampa because I love stealing defensive names that describe what we're doing. The Tampa cover 2. Well, this is a cover 2 beater, so to speak. And tell them to split the middle of the field. And also T, tailback, T, Tampa. All right, we're 19 and a half minutes in. Don't forget our sponsors, Tammy Pierce Realty. Don't forget Johnny Bucket's podcast. And if you're in the area, by all means, go to Johnny's New York Style Pizza in downtown West Point. Ask for Ben and Yada. Tell them Coach Chip sent you. Folks, this has been episode 22. Y'all know my contact info by now. That's siegel.chip@gmail.com. I'll put it in the description below. You can find me at Coach Chip on Facebook, and you can find me on Twitter at Chip Siegel. Listen here, y'all stay safe. You don't have to stay your fanny inside. We've had a great time outside working in the yard. You can go for walks. I'm about to go for a run. Okay? Just stay away from folks. Don't be all up in folks' spaces and business. And let's get this thing knocked out. Folks, I'm ready to get back to football. And the quicker we do what we ought to do, okay, with the social distancing and all this kind of stuff, the quicker we'll get back to football. You know, and for those of y'all that think we're doing too much or whatever this is, I'm not going to tell you you're wrong, but I'm going to tell you, you ain't going to win. So just do it. Don't be stubborn just because you think you're right. Sometimes you just got to go with the flow. You got to get along to get along. And if you think that we're doing too much and this stuff, it don't matter. I'm telling you, when they start seeing these streets shut down and people, you know, us not in the streets driving everywhere and doing everything, and we reduce our contact with each other. You say, well, you just told us to go to Johnny's. Well, I didn't tell you to go inside and eat and kiss anybody. I told you to get curbside pickup or contactless delivery. But the quicker we take care of this business and we get that curve to flatten out. By the way, they've had 3 or 4 good days in Italy with the numbers coming down. I know Spain's picking up, but they were late to the party. Okay? And we were a little late to the party too. I think I read where they said we'll probably hit the peak in about 2 weeks, which that's sad. But if that's the peak in 2 weeks, what happens after the peak? It goes down. So let's be safe. Take care of your family. Enjoy your family. Enjoy your loved ones that you pin up with. Get out and do something. Just stay away from folks. Okay? Get some fresh air. And be elite. I'll see you real soon. Okay?